8th take attempt. Late night job with WAPTEK, roadside service. I'm just going to go into it. Question number 1. What if one was to focus HAARP, or a scalar wave, from Earth at a HEX mirror, presumably in orbit, and reflect it back at us? And then there's another part of the sentence that doesn't make much sense. I'm going to skip it. Number 1, a mirror up in space reflecting a signal back that's only about 20 feet across would be nearly useless. For many, many reasons. The fact is that if you're talking about anything in the radio frequency spectrum, it spreads out, hence the term radio or radiation. Something that radiates isn't concentrated. To do that, you would need to use literally just an energy source like a radio signal and have a focusing mirror, and it would just be that. Next, on scalar wave. The word scalar is misused a lot by woo peddlers and people who want you to buy their book. Scalar is to electromagnetic spectrum and radio what's saying your computer runs on 120 volts versus saying it's 120 volts AC RMS 60 cycles a second with a 15 amp limit. There's many, many dimensions to the answer. Oh, and it's single phase. There's many dimensions to what it really is, but people don't mention that it's 170 plus and 170 minus effectively, depending on how you do the measurement of it. And as everyone gets as loud as medically possible, we'll wait until they go by. If you're that deaf, maybe you should get hearing aids. Next. But anyway, scalar wave, it has meaning. Scalar math has meaning, but mostly it's a way of doing an equation where you ignore all the other characteristics and just get a rough idea of things in many cases. It has other meanings, but that's a better answer than what you probably got from the site you got that from. HAARP. Okay, I'm going to get to the point on this. HAARP is a group of antennas and signal sources in one area or more than one area, depending on what argument you want to hear. But the idea is that somehow it's a steerable, aimable energy source that can do all sorts of evildoer things. It's a, moo-ha-ha, Illudium Pu explosive space modulator. That's actually not how radio signals work, and a simple answer for this is this. You can make an antenna array to transmit in a specific direction, but you have to turn the entire array left to right or up to down. Having it point straight up in the air and saying that it's aimed at Chicago makes absolutely no sense. And combining it with other signals and doing some sort of constructive or destructive interference to cause it to bend is an interesting idea, but this is said by people most of the time who won't look up, won't look up how these signals are actually mixed together and how you can actually do these sorts of things. They avoid looking it up because it wouldn't prop up the idea of HAARP being some sort of a dangerous weapon. It was an experiment, and for the most part it's been shut down because the experiment's over with, and they didn't really get much out of it. They learned some things and that's it. So this is a little bit like complaining that the guy next door with a flashlight is somehow talking to you through your mind, and being mean about it, because that's how far things go when people talk about HAARP or scalar waves. They refuse to look up what those words really mean and what the equipment did, and most importantly, you can detect these sort of things. You can actually test for these sorts of things and confirm or deny what you've been told. And I've yet to see one person who decided to get a ham operator's license and actually test any of this, or even an amateur license. I mean, really, all you need is the receiver. You don't even have to have a license for any of this. Many people have tested all of these ideas. They're simply bunk. I'm sorry. Next idea. Someone posted this statement. I've cut out a bunch of it because I'm getting rid of the incendiary parts of this that I'm just not going to have in any more videos for a while. The elite globalist method of maintaining power. Blackmail of deviant elite politicians and businessmen involved in satanic ritual sacrifice. Here we're going in with the satanic ritual abuse meme, which, again, there's almost no evidence of this ever happening and has nothing to do with high-level officials in the United States, at least. You can find this in specific religious groups and in some cultures. You can find systematic abuse. But this is the stupid thing. This is the one accusation I hear people use a lot because it gets everybody angry and riled, but they use it against people who aren't doing it. People who are doing it, they never mention it. Not going to go there. Anyway, and the last part is, oh, and satanic ritual abuse and ritual sacrifice. Oh, and by the way, life extension science, because keeping people from dying early is somehow satanic. Okay, next one. Someone aimed me at a YouTube channel and said they have proof of this sort of thing. This, of course, involves one of many videos I've had. It doesn't really matter which one. It's always the same memes. To a channel called Tori Smith. I'm going to read the person's own posting on what they do. Hello, my life themes are healer and survivor. I love to read DNA and have started a blog. Everything about us is recorded into our DNA. I get my information from several different sources, directly from the DNA of people, the Hall of Research, Justice, and Records, and others in heaven, which is 3 feet above you. Every day and evening, battles and attacks occur against me. I have been doing healing sessions for 20 years now, and zero-point energy is what flows through my head, heart, and hands into what I'm focused on. And this is the person I'm supposed to listen to when they go on and on about how everybody famous did something horrible to them, and they're a victim, and they have a persecution complex, and for all I know, I'm a messiah, that kind of thing. Versus people who explain to you, like I have, unless you have proof of something, it's really not acceptable to continually beat on it. And then in the same breath almost, look at things that have actual proof associated with them and ignore that in favor of, oh no, it might have a consequence on my right to keep and bear arms or whatever, and then continue repeating the memes. And no, you're not entitled to that kind of opinion, because it's literally just an opinion and has nothing to do with what's really going on. And the opinion is you shouldn't have to prove anything if you want to get something done in this world, and that's not really going to work. Last one, missionaries and their holy blankets, or was it biological warfare by an evil U.S. government that caused Native American Indians to be wiped out at a certain time? And this is probably referring to the High Plains smallpox epidemic in the early 1800s, 1837 specifically I'm going to be citing. There's more than one incident that's referred to in this way. I'm going to be covering just this one as an example, and I'm going to be reading back what the most likely cause was and the most likely answer. And I'm going to try to get this done before someone comes along and just starts screaming incoherently again. Historians currently agree that smallpox was brought to the High Plains in 1837 aboard the steamboat St. Peter's, which was owned by a fur trading company, as it made its annual voyage up the Missouri River from St. Louis, Missouri, delivering goods, not blankets, all sorts of things, to the company's trading posts along the way. Smallpox followed in the steamboat's wake, making its appearance among the southernmost tribes along the river before it spread into the Mandans at Fort Clark and tribes north. Many eyewitness accounts from that year's epidemic survived, and many people survived, none mentioning U.S. Army presence. There were only 2 government employees aboard that ship as it approached the upper Missouri. It's been analyzed by numerous historians. None of the previous histories have indicated U.S. Army presence in the vicinity, military involvement, and genocide concerning this particular thing, biogenocide, bioweapons. No mention of a word about a boatload of blankets shipped, just the ship going up like it always did. It's not something special. Nothing from a military smallpox infirmary in St. Louis. No mention of any medical personnel deliberately setting free anybody who had the infection, and smallpox was simply brought to them by people being sick on a boat. This is the normal thing that happens. It's like during wars, most people die from being ill because they can't get help, they can't get medical treatment, or medical treatment is simply non-existent at the time, and they're exposed to diseases by going into areas that have different diseases. As for intentionally inflicting this on people, everybody knows that happened, but the thing is that a bunch of people being sick is also indicated. Oh, we set loose people, and it's usually referred to as being a Native American doing it, by turning someone loose who was sick. Wouldn't it just be more effective just to have a bunch of people who are resistant to it because they're from Europe go through and have smallpox and that sort of thing, which is effectively what happened. Also, there is some indication people intentionally tried to infect people and failed at it. A blanket doesn't carry a disease as well as a human. Next, I want to bring up a couple of silly things here. This is going to get me yelled at. I'm going to use this for the icon for the video. 3 states in the United States that went to Trump are being urged to do recounts because of an assertion of voter fraud, so they can try to get Hillary to win. They're the close states, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. and it would cause her to have a victory. I just think this is kind of a waste of time, but I'll leave the links below if anybody wants to watch them or look them up. Anyway, that'll be it for today. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that.